Today I am deep in the Bradshaw Mountains of Arizona, visiting a town called Crown King. Crown King was once a booming gold town, and these days it's down to a population of about 100.
They brought millions of dollars worth of gold ore out of the Crown King mine.
When he pulled out of a sock or whatever it was, some gold. And I'm like, oh shit.
See all the movies and stuff with the bad men and the shootouts and all that, but people actually had to get along and help each other.
This little town has been saved, I don't know how many times, by the finger of God.
We're one of the few that's still towns that's like the old Wild West.
I need you to put Crown King on the map.
We're gonna go in there, talk to some locals about what it's like living here, and hopefully learn some history. So the road up to Crown King is known for being very long and very bumpy, but back in the late 1800s, this was a railroad that they called the Impossible Railroad because of how difficult it was to construct. This thing increased 3,000 feet in elevation across 12 miles, and they had to put switchbacks, like 7 to 10 of them every 2 miles, and it was just a huge feat even to get the rail here, get all the gold out. These days all the rail has been ripped up and it's a dirt road, but it's kind of a badge of honor in the off-road community to ride on this road. The reason I originally knew about Crown King was a volunteer that we had at Cerro Gordo, the abandoned mining town that I live in, named Red. And Red lived up here and he was always going on and on about Crown King. So I'm hoping today that we can surprise Red. I haven't talked to him in just over a year or so, but I'm hoping Red's here and he can show us around some things as well. Crown King. So let's go learn what it's all about to live up here in Crown King. So I typically live in an abandoned mining town in California called Cerro Gordo, and I've been living up there for the past 6 years trying to restore the place, working on the buildings, learning the history, exploring the mines. And the winters up at Cerro Gordo can get really cold. We're at 8,500 feet in elevation, and so a lot of the time you're just looking out a window at snow. So I decided this winter I was gonna take a road trip. I was gonna visit different mining towns across the United States to learn what they're doing there, to get some inspiration and to meet some people that have been living in those towns for a long time. So that's what brings me here to Crown King today. The general store right next to the fire station, right next to the saloon that's moved 3 different times to get here. And so today we're going to try to wander in all these different ones and meet some different folks, learn about the history here, learn about the future of the town and all of that, and just better understand what it's like living up here deep in the Bradshaws.
Okay, these donuts
Yeah.
are damaged, so they have to be eaten.
Okay,
And there's coffee right here.
okay.
And then I'll tell you some things.
Okay. The village of Crown King rests in a basin of the central Arizona mountains, the Bradshaws, surrounded by 13 peaks of this spur of the Rocky Mountains. Scenery is picturesque, wooded, rocky, and threaded with mountain streams. Fabulous amounts of gold, silver, and lead were taken from the mines in this vicinity in the 1880s. Now, all that remains of the sources of these vast fortunes are gaping shafts and derelict buildings. Hey, buddy. How are you? Oh, here's some photos of the rail line that we just came in on. Oh, hey, buddy. Sorry.
So this is the road we came up?
This is the road that we just came up on when it was a railroad. That's cool.
What's the one at the top there?
That's the town.
Is that the saloon?
It's Crown King.
Yeah.
So that's where the road that we came in on.
I have a 52-year history here. My dad started coming here when I was 10 years old, and he brought us up the back way from Lake Pleasant, which is now a badge of honor trail for Jeeps. It's 32 miles, but it takes 6 hours to get here in a big vehicle. Side by sides, 3. And that's how I learned to drive, because
Up here on these roads, you learned how to drive.
when I was 10, because I'd have to sit in between my mom and dad because I would get so car sick. And he would, that's how I learned how to shift. He built a cabin up there. They liked it so much they bought the general store in the 80s, and we ran it for 10 years. And all my children were born here, except for one. And my oldest son is 43 next month, and he lives here as well.
Wow.
And he lives about 2 miles up, and he is a builder here in Crown King. There were investors that bought up all the summer homes and turned them into Airbnbs. So that cut into my business as well as the other cabin rentals in town. So I opened the Mercantile, and I like it.
Are there many young folks around here?
No, we want young folks. Please come to Crown King. Tell them about your schoolhouse.
There's 9 kids and 2 teachers because we're half the school. It goes through kinder through 8th, and I'm in 8th, and he's in 6th.
What is there to do for fun as like a kid around here?
Just ride around on our mini bikes and stuff like that. Yeah, hang out with our friends and just get in trouble, I guess.
No way.
Cerro Gordo? Yeah. Have you seen some videos before?
Yeah, we were just watching this morning.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, that's awesome. We got open invite anytime you want to come up. Come check it out. Yeah.
Where? What are they talking about?
So I own an abandoned mining town in California called Cerro Gordo.
How did they know that?
I make videos, and the videos are pretty
And they saw it?
They're pretty popular, yeah.
I need you to put Crown King on the map. So gold is at a record high, okay? Back when that railroad was running, they brought millions of dollars worth of gold ore out of the Crown King mine. That's when it was $17 an ounce. Okay, it's $5,000. Why aren't they doing something?
What's the deal with that now? Is it closed, collapsed?
All the
or-
mines are totally privately owned.
Yep.
Okay, the only one that did open for a while, it opened twice. Back in the 80s when my folks owned the store, it was the Gladiator mine.
Okay.
And then it opened about, I want to say 10 or 12 years ago. But it's a gamble because you got to get these investors and, you know, some of it works, some of it doesn't. There's different mines. So the way it happened here is back in the 1880s.
Yeah.
They all came from like Illinois, Pennsylvania, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, they were looking for placer gold, and they'd find the placer gold in the creeks.
Yep.
And then, I don't know how, but then they'd figure out where they're going to start digging. There's
Yeah.
mines everywhere.
Wander
Now,
around a
this
little
restaurant over here, this is where the depot. So the
yeah.
train would come in here,
Okay.
and there was a turnaround up there. So the Crown King mine is directly behind us here,
Okay.
about 3 miles up.
Yeah.
But in order to get there, they had what they were called the putt-putt carts. So they're the little carts that go like this.
Yeah.
And there's a house down there, it's red, you can see the red of it down
Yeah.
there. It's called the 1904 house, and that's where they used to store those putt-putt cars.
Oh, cool. So the trains come in here, turn around here, and then go back.
Yep,
Wow.
and they would load the ore up over here.
Yeah.
And that's going to tell you a lot about that.
Okay. And of the buildings that are in town, you said the saloon has moved twice or 3 times. And are any of the buildings still where they were?
This
general
one
store?
and that one.
Okay, got it. Understood.
And that's it.
And so the saloon they'd move depending on where the current mine was mining. That makes sense.
It's a bit of a rigmarole to get in there. Hang on.
No problem.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. So we just gotta look inside the Historical Society here, and it's really cute. You know, they got a lot of things from back in the day. They're actually moving it from this little building behind us up into a forestry building, which will be exciting, but they have old artifacts from the mining era, different artifacts from the railroad that came up here, and all sorts of stuff. And I love that when I go to these towns that kind of celebrate the history that was there. And so once it moves, it's gonna be really nice. But check it out, Crown King Society. And we've heard a tip that we gotta go check out the schoolhouse. 10 students, 12 students.
9, 10,
There's about
something
9
like
or
that.
10 students. There's about 9 or 10 students at the school. So imagine how small that is. It better get along with your schoolmates. So towns like this are interesting, right? There's the original buildings, there's buildings that have moved a couple times, and this building apparently is where they kept all of the kind of like push carts where they would take the ore from the mine down to the railroad depot here. So they call this like, I think the 1912 house or something like that. This is one of the original houses here. And you can see still where the road was and where the track would have been. This is the school. So imagine spending 10 years of your life with the same 10 kids inside this building. It's just small town living. But it's interesting, again, like this was a mining town. This could have just gone away to nothing, but I think given the beautiful nature around here, it kind of became more of a resort place and then eventually a home to a lot of people. So it's the school. There are no Fridays in Crown King. Check out one of the restaurants.
So we've owned this since 2020. We opened it in 21. We used to lease the cafe and the saloon for like 5 years beforehand. Before then, I've worked in the saloon and the switchback my entire life. I was like cooking at like 11 years old, you know. When I was a kid, we had no telephones up here. There was a party line between the Forest Service, the saloon, and the general store, and that was it. So all of us that communicated up here, we used CB radios. We didn't really have TV until DirecTV came out with like the small DirecTV dishes. So we grew up playing in the woods and playing in the creeks and building rock forts and stuff like that, which is cool. But we get people from all over and even all over the world, which is surprising to me. I'm like, you come to the United States and how did you hear of Crown King to come visit, you know? But those people, they want to come see the Wild West, and we're one of the few that's still towns that's like the old Wild West. I'm actually kind of scared for the next 10 years of Crown King. A lot of our old timers that know a lot of the little secrets or the little things that keep our town running, like our water. I'm just scared for it in a way, you know. I want to keep it this small town feel, and like right now, all the owners of all the businesses are kids from people that were here 20 or 30 years ago. Like our parents all owned something up here, and I think that's kind of cool. I'd hate to see somebody sell out to somebody, and no offense to any Californian or somebody that's not really from here, and kind of change the whole atmosphere. So as of right now, we're still pretty good. But that's kind of what I fear the most, is that some of the people are getting older and are just gonna sell and don't really care to who.
So it's always kind of like a balancing act in these towns between, you know, the new and the old. And I love the story of the saloon, the fact that this saloon has been moved 3 different times from the big mines to the big mines, and that it's still here. It gives it kind of that authentic feel. And at Cerro Gordo, I'm putting a bar into the hotel that we're building, and that bar is coming from Texas, so it's moved from place to place to place. And so you see that often in these old western towns, the bars moving around, and I love it. You know, it gives it more context, it gives it a little bit more meaning. And I think that's important in a town like this, to preserve that, because that's why the town was established to begin with. Brent Underwood. Yeah.
Brent.
Tony.
Chris, nice to meet you.
Right.
Heard that you, and they said that you're the man to talk to.
Well, I don't know. My great-grandfather came here in 1887. He was a banker from Illinois. And long story short, he came to Prescott because the Lynx Creek plasters was going and all. He was looking for something to invest in, and he bumped into these guys that had the Crown King mine, and he invested in that. I started out working in the mines when I was 18.
Wow.
And I was a mucker.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the
I
mugger
was
taking
a
out all
mucker.
the hot rock.
And I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. You know, you see all the movies and stuff with the bad men and the shootouts and all that, but people actually had to get along and help each other to make it happen, you know. And that's the way that things really got, and that's kind of the way it is today around there, around this town here anyway. People help each other out.
Doing real good. How are you?
Oh, I think I'm alive.
We're going to check out some photos in here.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, nice to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was my great-grandfather. His name was George P. Harrington.
Wow.
George P. Harrington. He was the banker from Illinois, and
So he ran the Crown King for a
he
while?
ran the Crown King, the Oroville. There are several others around here, yeah. And then this was my grandfather there. Yeah.
Wow, so your family ties run pretty deep here then.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Here's a saloon, of course.
Oh, wow.
You've probably seen this already.
No, we haven't seen it.
My buddy, that's why I'm out here, is my buddy got stuck back road from Lake Pleasant to here. And then he shows me, okay, well, this is, I get out, I don't even have my pants on yet, and I get out of bed, and he's like, I'm stuck going the back road to Crown King, and I'm like, oh, okay. And we get down there, I'm like, there's probably a way he can get up here. And he pointed out one downhill from us, and he's like, well, there's this one, and I'm like, well, there's probably another one. And I look up, and I'm like, there it is. And he could have winched up the whole time, but it worked out.
I like it out here. I like the freedom of and all that. I don't have stoplights.
So we're seeing a lot of downtown, but a lot of the locals actually live up in the hills surrounding downtown. So there's almost 300 or so homes around here. So we're gonna try to look up in these hills and see what it's actually like to live here outside of the downtown that everybody else looks at.
What's this here?
This is the church, like up here. We're climbing up in the hills towards the old mine, and looks like this is their church. It's got a little single wide. It's nice. I feel like a church and a school definitely give the sense of it's actually a community, not just like a vacation place. Crown King is full of dirt roads, and I've been on a lot of dirt roads and a lot of highways on this road trip visiting different ghost towns. And something that's made a huge difference has been my tires. It's pretty much the easiest thing you can do for a truck to get it to perform at its full capabilities. And I've been running the Nitto Terra Grappler G3s, and they're just awesome. You know, I spend a lot of time driving on dirt, and these tires have performed better than any others that I've ever used. They got a new tread design on them. They get you where you need to go on the dirt. They're still good on the pavement. So if you're looking kind of for that dual capability in any tire, check them out. So we're climbing up the hills above Crown King, and we're looking for the Crown King mine, and that's the mine that originally made this a boom town. And since it's been privately owned and it's developed into cabins, but I wanted to at least get the perspective of what it was like getting the ore from way up here down to town itself. So we're gonna get as close as we can to the original mine just to give the perspective of how hard it was to actually get the ore out of here. So looking at the old USGS maps, this is the location of the original Crown King mine. And you can see a little bit of the dirt they would have pulled out of the mine, some of the tailings. These days, it's developed into more cabins, and it's almost like nothing was ever here. And it's wild to think that, you know, this mine was responsible for thousands of people coming up here, millions of dollars worth of ore, and you could just easily pass it by and not look twice if you're forgetting about it. It's an interesting contrast to other mining towns I've been to, because usually they make the old main mine the feature of the town, whereas here the mine is kind of almost obscured, and you're right on the road here. So we'll put up a drone, we'll give you kind of the perspective into the downtown, but this is what built Crown King, but what continues Crown King is kind of the legacy of what happened right here, and now what is happening down in town with all the shops and everything.
He worked in Alaska,
Yeah.
running heavy equipment. He knows about the mines.
Oh,
He's
man.
shy, but I told him you can help him out.
Yeah.
His name's Rick.
Hey Rick, how's it going? Brent.
His
Chris,
brother
nice to meet you.
ran the dredge on Gold Rush for Tony Beats.
Oh, cool.
I've been coming up here since the 50s. My folks had property up here. They had a cabin over at Horse Thief Basin.
Yeah.
Store's still here. Saloon's still there. There's something there. I don't know if you know how much you got. You're down kind of a hole here.
Is the working? Can you still see the workings up there, or they've covered them up?
Well, most of the workings up there has been hauled off for road fill.
Okay.
But you know, there's just a dump. But it's off up in there. And then you see that house up there, that's Jay's,
Okay.
but he just sold out. But then you get up on top, there's Lincoln is that way, and then Gladiator, and Del Pasco is about there, just that little saddle the other side of the towers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go all the way around, and you can come down the towers mountainside.
Okay.
My mom, dad, they told me stories when the oil bell shut down. They just left everything, and the mess hall, the plates were still on the on racks, between vandals and just old age. And vandals will get into something like that, and they'll just rip this shit out of it looking for a flake of gold.
Yeah. That was when the store was built in 1904.
I'm about to, because I'm in it.
That's really cool.
But they had good wood to work with back then. Not the garbage that we're overpaying for now.
Yeah.
That wall right there to that wall right there was the original store in 1904. Just this room right here. And the stove was right there. And it was there until...
Hence the metal.
Till the 1970s. Because that was the heat. And it was there till the 1970s, and the fire marshal and the health department came along and said, you can't have the stove out in the middle of the room.
So this is where we keep all the packages that people receive via USPS. It's all by last name, and each one has a box. In this case, he's already pulled his little yellow slips. If you've got a yellow slip, it's your turn to get a package. That's that.
Neat.
So we still operate as a normal post office per se. You know what? Believe it or not, day to day can be different every day. You never know what kind of groups are going to roll into town. You know, randomly you'll have a group of 50. The next day you might have 2. You just never really know. There's also usually an incident where somebody might get stuck, somebody might break down, and you end up going to your own house and getting your own tools and helping somebody else out, and now your whole day is, you know, about helping somebody else and paying it forward. That's one of the blessings. It's amazing the amount of things that we see people do for each other and we get to do for them. You still got to find out where you fit in. So once I figured out, you know, I got into bartending and started figuring out where I was at and where people respected me or didn't. You have to earn your respect. It's very old school. You earn your respect by showing, obviously. And that's one of the things that I really love about this place is that you actually have to prove yourself. You're not just given credit.
The real serious mining, up here about 2 miles out of town, there's used to be a Forest Service monument, and I don't know what happened to it. Campers used it for firewood or something, unfortunately, but it was called Bradshaw City.
Okay.
And it was a tent city, but there was 5,000 people living there. The most people ever here was actually Bradshaw City, and it was all tents. And the saloon, that was built down at the Alexandria, which is about 10 miles down the mountain.
Okay.
And then they took it apart and they moved it to Orabelle, which is about 9 miles over the other way. And then in 1906, they took it apart the third time and brought it up here and reassembled it. That's why if you go in there, there's 3 layers of floors.
Good, we're gonna go check out Joe's spot, see what stuff Red left behind, but they're meeting a lot of locals, so that's great.
That must be it right there. It looks rusty. Wow, the tailgate works. Wow, how weird.
It has been an actual fire department since 1980. We are the only defense until help arrives.
Yeah.
They are the ones that can either help get you on a life flight out of here or keep you breathing until somebody else can. So regardless of what it is, these guys are on scene immediately. You talk to him, I said, yeah, Ryan's there. Beast.
How's this thing do on the roads around here?
This doesn't actually do too bad.
Yeah.
We do have a water tender as well. That's about the same size as this, but holds 3 times the amount of water. This was made by our fleet mechanics. So this is a
custom job here.
Custom job right here. So it's a full ambulance.
Wow. And you can get up all these roads around here pretty easy then.
Made a huge difference in our response time.
Yeah.
So this little town has been saved, I don't know how many times, by the finger of God. You know, just coming down and saying, nope, not today. But if you look up on the hill over here, you'll see all the dead trees and whatnot. See how it's super bare compared to what's going on right here. So that was the Lane 2 fire. And that was a big fire that swept up, came up the hill, it hit right about in that area, and then because the wind was blowing this way, and then all of a sudden the winds just shifted and blew it back on itself and put itself out.
Am I gonna make it? Yes! So we are headed to the Assay House. It's very old. It's a very big piece of history for Crown King, and it's supposedly haunted. Utilizing your surroundings. A lot of people are so self-absorbed and ignorant to what they have to utilize at their fingertips. I was guilty as well when I lived in Phoenix. But living here and having to utilize your resources shows you how much you really do have at your fingertips. And it is okay to ask for help. I don't know if Tony was saying, but this place has always been, I could call anybody on this mountain, whether you think you get along or not, and they would show up at your door, or you could walk into theirs and they would help you. You may not be their best friend, but it's a community. And at the end of the day, everybody works together, because it's not gonna keep going if people don't put in the effort to keep it going. So with us taking over the store, that's part of what I want to do, is get it back to that warm feeling. When you walk in the door, I want it to feel warm. I want it to feel homey. I want to make it feel like you can send your 6-year-old down to the store by himself and let him buy a candy bar and know that the whole town is watching and looking over him. My kids do that, but I'm so close to town. Yeah, I'm comfortable with it because my parents are on the other end and I work in between. You know, it's kind of a different situation for me. Whereas somebody from off the hill, they may not feel comfortable because they don't get that feeling. If we don't all work together, this place is gonna take over us. The whole everybody, it's just gonna run us over.
And that was Crown King. You know, this whole road trip, the idea is to visit other mining towns that are under different stages of restoration, whether it's fully abandoned or fully restored. And I think Crown King is a great mix where there's a really strong community here. There's still 100 people that live up here. They all still really care about the history of this place. There's still people here that participated in the mining and their families go back and back and back. And I think the community here is half the excitement of coming up here. And so learned a lot here, have a lot to think about as far as Cerro Gordo goes and what I'm going to do back there. And this road trip is going to continue. I have every state in the country hopefully ahead of me to learn a lot more things. I'll be taking notes the whole time. Hope you guys follow along. Hope you guys subscribe. Come check out Crown King. Come to the saloon that's moved 3 times. And until then, hope you guys have a great week.